resisting getting their young children inoculated.
Yes.
So it becomes a very big challenge. Do you find challenges of resistance like that, especially among, not well-educated people?
So I'm actually in the studio and I'm going to be speaking this English with you. Yes, but when I'm there, I don't speak this English. So the thing is, people can relate with.
Hello and welcome. This is The Conversation on Kaftan Television, and I'm Mikki Attah. It's my pleasure today to be bringing you the conversation because we have a real special guest in the studio today with us. And it's my honor to tell you that today we have the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement South-South in the person of Honorable Gift Johnbull. Honorable Gift, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence today. You're very welcome. Okay, well, I'll tell you, there's so much to tell you about her, but let me just start by introducing what's going to be our focus today. And that is this project that she has really, really, put so much effort into and has actually kicked it off in the South-South, talking about Project Earn from the Soil. Now, Project Earn from the Soil was kicked off by President Bola Tinubu on the 10th of December of this year. Now, she is particularly saddled with the task of the South-South region, talking about the states of Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Cross River, Edo, and Delta states. Incidentally, she is not one of those armchair assistants. She herself has gone around, traversed all these states. And not just that, she went particularly to interact with women, with the youth, with some traditional rulers, with the people that we will say are people on ground. And this is a new departure for governance. So I want her to tell us, let's just engage her immediately. Let her tell us more about how she went about her civil engagement. Thank you, ma'am. How come you chose a completely different field? Because usually what we see are senior special assistants to the presidents going to meet the governor, then the politicians, the stakeholders, and come back. And then these people that you engage with, the real farmers, are completely left out.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mikki. Thank you for having me in the studio. The President Bola Tinubu GCFR, is very passionate about the people at the community level. He's literally a grassroots person. And one of the reasons he created the Office of the Community Engagement for every region is to ensure that no one is left behind, no matter where they are in Nigeria, be it the creeks, the riverine areas, the interior villages, no matter where they are. He wants the presence of governors to be felt in every region, state, local government, villages, and wards. And hence he created the office. Every stakeholder is important, and that is why President Bola Tinubu GCFR said we should go back to the communities, to the villages, and ensure that firstly, the policies he's creating is properly interpreted and explained to the people in the grassroots level, and also get feedbacks from the community, the people in the communities and the grassroots level back to the presidency. So what we literally do is to be the bridge between the grassroots people and the presidency to ensure that everyone enjoys the dividends of democracy.
Okay, Honorable Gift, though, can I ask you, because a whole lot of times we see these wonderful presentations on television where we have like committees set up and, MDAs like that set up, and they come and give the president these beautifully packaged reports, and these are flung on the shelf. Nothing ever happens to them. So in your own case, although I'm seeing some, but I want people to know what are the steps that you take such that they are implementable and that they are instantly implemented?
Yeah, so this project Earn from the Soil, is about food security. And that is one aspect of our lives that does not have respect of class. It's for everybody. And like I usually say, nation building is a collective effort.
Right.
Stronger communities translates to stronger nations.
Please take you up on that. Nation building is a collective effort. Let's learn that. Okay, continue.
Yes, and stronger communities translates to stronger nations. So if Nigeria will be stronger than we are now, it means our communities has to be stronger, more economically stable, and that will translate to a stronger and more economically stable country. The reason this will be different is because it's a collective effort. It's not a one person handing out something. It's every single stakeholder coming on board for this one, from the grassroots farmers to the government agencies and parastatals to the international development partners to the business people, the entrepreneurs, the investors. Everyone is on board for this one, and that is what makes the difference. So this is not the president bringing a messiah solution. It's everybody putting their hands together to ensure that food security is achieved in Nigeria.
Okay, so I want to ask, how easy? Should that question be how easy, or should I say how difficult was it to traverse that terrain? Because we know in some other areas you can take a train ride across. Some other regions you can take a car, but here you're going to go maybe from the creeks to the boat to the land to the maybe by air. How are you able to traverse the whole of the South region? Because that's the most difficult. Every Nigerian would admit the most difficult to traverse.
Yeah, but we've been mandated by the president to ensure we get that. And you know, where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay.
So you want to get to a particular location, the first thing is to have your location in mind, and then boom, you can find any way to get there. So the South region is very unique, like you said. So there's some places you could just, you know, fly down and then maybe just drive 30-40 minutes or 1 hour, you get to your location. Or there's some places you fly down to maybe to the state capital and then you travel like 5-6 hours to your destination. And there's some you just stay, arrive at the airport in another state and travel by road to the other states, you know. But the beautiful thing is you are meeting amazing people, experiencing the culture, the food, the beautiful people, the strong people. That alone is compensation, and it makes it super interesting and undeniably beautiful.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you didn't want to give us the details of the harder ones. So I will not take you up on that. But you know something I want to find out, though, is since the program project Earn from the Soil seems to be tied in with the other project for women empowerment. Can you tell us a little bit about how you marry both of them and the concept of the Women Empowerment Project especially?
The National Women Economic Empowerment Policy has been since like 2022, 2023, and it's a beautiful policy. So what we did was we went through the policy and we saw how it was properly written to ensure that women's economy is liberated, to ensure that women uplift their household by having solid income. And the first engagement we had across our region was to discover a common denominating factor, and that is agriculture. In the grassroots region of Nigeria, everybody is actually part of agriculture. Either they are into husbandry or cultivation of different kind of crops. And that was one thing that was common, you know. And what we did was we went back to the policy and we realized that, okay, the policy is encouraging cluster projects. So there's no standalone, right? So we can actually bring the women into cooperatives to ensure cluster projects, and that will also advance the agriculture. So if we're talking about bringing more labor saving devices, more high-tech processing, more packaging, and more well-defined ecosystem to ensure farm to shelf, the way we can actually achieve that is through cooperatives. So we visited these women, brought them into cooperatives as guided by the policy, as advised rather by the policy, you know, and from there we can now reach out to these women with different solutions based on the location and the variety of crops they're dealing with.
Right. Then I wanted to ask how Is it the women that will be responsible for storage? Because that seems to be a great problem in the rural areas, this evacuation of products to end users, because the gap in between is storage. And most times you see like giant piles of oranges rotting. You see, crops just going bad because of that bridge in storage, especially the riverine areas, which has to do with the south, because stuff like fish, them, you end up seeing the women drying them all, whereas some could have been sent fresh if we could freeze them.
True. So it's not like a woman thing that we're championing it from start to finish, right?
Okay.
Yeah, women are putting their voice to ensure that we eat at home, because I believe that there's no woman, no food on the table, right? So it's a collective effort, like I earlier mentioned, and bringing all the stakeholders on board means that the aggregating is another value chain in the agricultural value chain.
Okay.
What we want to do is ensure that every single value chain is properly captured and enhanced, from aggregating to processing, to packaging, to storing. These are different value chains that one person doesn't have to do it. So most of the challenges we get is the person cultivates, and then the person is trying to store, and then the person is trying to distribute.
Oh, no.
But imagine now we have 50 women together forming a cooperative and they have their own company, right? We can have people of take. We can have them deal with the aggregators directly. We can have them deal with the processing companies directly, and ensure that there's a bridge between those that need their product and those that are producing it. So that is what Project End from the Soil is about, ensuring that the different value chains in the agricultural sector is linked together, proper linkages.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that sounds wonderful, because like I told you, I've observed categorically that those bridges are always where there's a problem. We have hardworking women, but how do you get this product out? Then I wanted to ask you, what do you do for supervision? For instance, once you've set it up, and then it's up, is it when it's up and running, then, it's hands off? Or you still do some supervision? And then what do you do for the financial part? Let me make it a two-part question. Are these monies given as grants, or are they loans, which, they have to return and then recycle?
Okay, the beautiful thing with community engagement, it's not a hit and run. It's a continuous thing.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's hands on deck on this one. Nobody's leaving anything, right? But of course, the leaders of these cooperatives are amongst themselves, right? However, other stakeholders coming on board can ensure that there's proper, it's a business. So it has to be handled as a business. It's not a charity organization. It's a business, right? So we're going to ensure that we supervise, not micromanage, but supervise, supervise from start to finish, or set up structures. And the business development companies, we can marry them to business development companies that can actually help them, check, maybe audit, and ensure that the business survives. So we can actually start recording success stories like, oh, this business is 50 years old. This business is 100 years old, like we see in other countries, right? So it's not taking the eyes off it. That is why it's the government, the private sector, and the international development space and entrepreneurs coming together to make this work. And then the other part about the finances is this, we actually launched a fundraising where we intend to raise 10 billion naira for the Project End from the Soil Community Trust Fund, right? And that is what we're going to give to the women, either in procurement of labor-saving devices, or in setting up of hubs, business hubs, where we can actually ensure that there's proper packaging of commodities. For instance, Mama Tega is probably drying fish, but she's not in front of a computer to design a proper branding for her fish business, right? But if there's a one-stop hub, a tech guy can actually just help design it, and then a packaging engineer ensures that, oh, we don't use this particular kind of packaging to ensure a long shelf life for the fish, so that when we are exporting to maybe the UK or something, nothing gets bad, So building of the hub and training, because we cannot overemphasize on that. Yes, we have some background information, right? But if we want to go from here to here, we need that knowledge. The gap here is knowledge, right? And then also, there's something very interesting that I was having a conversation with the country rep for UN Women, and she mentioned something very interesting, that if you give a woman 100,000 naira to do a business, and then her child is sick at home, what do you think the money is going to be used for? she's a woman. First is going to taking care of a child. So there's a need for that that's little finance to help her as she makes her journey, right? So that's what the grant is. There's going to be grants, right? Yeah. So we raise the money, some goes to grants, and also to inputs, seedlings, because we've seen where in other countries the total output they have per hectare is way higher than what we have per hectare here. And it's about improved seedlings. It's about newer technologies to, to grow these crops. We have a greenhouse, and then we have a more, even if it's going to be deep water fishing, using fishing for instance, but there are ways we can actually get more products with little effort or little land space. So those are part of the things that the monies will be used for.
Okay. A lot of women have come up, especially on radio programs, to complain about how after they've gone through a farming cycle and everything, in come these herders, and then they just, destroy their whole land, destroy their crops, and they're left helpless and hopeless. What measures can be taken against them? Because these are women. How are they going to fight with, giant cows, and then the herdsmen who are a lot of times are armed?
Yeah, that's a very touching reality that we've had in the past. And that is why the President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, created a ministry for livestock. There's a ministry now that will ensure that those free grazing is a thing of the past, because the world is moving at a very fast lane. We have to join in on that. So now we're going to be exploring other forms of animal husbandry like ranching. That ministry will ensure there's proper ranching, and then you have reduced free grazing techniques. And that means if free grazing is no longer productive, you have no option but to evolve. So time and the ministry will ensure that that doesn't really happen anymore, and that will ensure that the cultivation industry in agriculture is not destroyed like it used to be in the time past.
Well, okay. Maybe we'll wait till we speak to the Minister of Livestock, because it's still ongoing, and it's quite a problem. But anyway, let's face some other things. You said that the money is going to be raised by means of a fundraiser. We were thinking it's going to be a budgeted sum. So how is the fundraiser to be organized? Or has it been done? Have you reached a target, or it's going to be done periodically?
Okay, so we just launched on the 10th of December. Now, there are different food security measures already in the budget.
Oh, okay.
Yes, of course. You have the Ministry of Agriculture, you have NAT Fund, you have NALDA. There are different agencies and parastatals that are actually doing food security measures. Okay. So what we are doing is we are harnessing. Right. So as part of executing the project or implementing Project N from the Soil is maybe NALDA coming to the south to do a major project. That is also achieving that. Okay. Maybe there's the
so can you break down what NALDA is for viewers?
National Agricultural Land I really can't say
Development Agency.
Yeah, Development Agency. Yeah. And then there's NAT Fund also. Okay. Yeah. So if we marry NALDA with one of the cooperatives, okay, they have the land now, and then NALDA comes and clears with a tractor the entire land and gives seedlings, for instance, or whatever the techniques are. That is actually achieving Project N from the Soil.
True.
So that we've not given them money, but we've harnessed what is already budgeted for the projects the government already has. Okay. And then international development partners. I was having a conversation with the UN Women Country Rep, Madam Bisang, and she also mentioned how one of the new projects is bringing cassava processing machines, to states like Cross River for a start, right? So that is success achieved. The cooperatives can actually also marry into that. Right. And then we have the private business investors. I have some friends from China, and they're like, okay, they want to invest in the oil palm industry, right? So they want to create a labor saving device, just like they've achieved in Malaysia. They want to do that in Nigeria. And we marry these two parts. That is achieving Project N from the Soil. And then any other way we can actually raise the fund for the grants to these women, it's going to be success achieved as well. We cannot say categorically how it's going to happen, but we know that there are a lot of stakeholders that will be interested in ensuring that we boost food security in the South region.
I'm keying into your optimism because you're already making me purple. Okay, but let me ask you though. I've noticed that every time there are going to be these grants and anything cash going to the women is always at a reduced scale.
Reduced scale, how do you mean?
It's small. The monies are small. Let me give you a solid example. I was an eyewitness to when they had this trader money in the immediate past administration. And it was shocking. It was just 10,000 naira, and plus it was a loan. So imagine the vice president flying all the way to the south to hand over 10,000 naira to some traders, which they're going to pay back to the government. I mean, now if it were men's business, it wouldn't have been like that. So I'm just saying, every time you have to scale out finances to women, I would have thought you would give them billions. If for nothing else, they are not the landowners. Women are the ones farming, but they're not the ones who own it. So why are there always micro funds? And what are you going to do to scale this one up?
Okay, so I won't speak much on that because it's not my department. Yes. So I won't speak much on that. However, this is my personal opinion now.
Right.
I feel that we should take our attention away from these stipends coming into proper productivity. I understand the need for initial stipends, so that as the business is going, we have something to maybe run the household while we wait for harvest and all that. But that is not the goal. It's just a means to an end. Let's focus on the reason why that will be given. That is not the major thing. The major thing is it's just supposed to help as we make progress into what the major thing is. And in this case, it's food security. That's the major thing. That is where we are headed. So if we will be handing over stipends as grants, it's because we are ensuring the increased productivity in the agricultural sector. That is why, not how much it is. And sometimes it's a game of numbers, So
if there are so many,
yes, and you want it to go round, Yes. So that is why I think I remember I was speaking to the women in Delta, and I said, if somebody's giving you something, your hand is like here. I understand the need for the stipends, but I don't think we want our hands to be here. We're not beggars. We're not less privileged. We want to work. So we want to work. These are workers. These are people that already have a source of income, a source of livelihood. What we want to do is to boost it. So I just think we should maybe get that clear. It's boosting it.
How about implement? You mentioned a lot of implements, but how about stuff like fertilizers and all of those? Are those part of what you're going to be giving out to these women?
So those are categorized as inputs as well,
Okay.
But the beautiful thing with the South region is that we have very good fertile grounds, So where it's necessary, we can. I mean, Ministry of Agriculture at the point was distributing fertilizers. So we can be like, oh, please, these women need these fertilizers for this product, and then we can actually marry them. But I think it's where needed. It's not a one size fit all need. This need for fertilizers. The inputs may vary. Some could just be seedlings and other stuff, but maybe not fertilizers. But where needed, of course.
All right. That means you have to run around like 6 ministries.
10
MPAs, then all the regions. How do you do it? Let me start by even thanking you because you flew in this morning from Lagos just to be a part of this program. And then I don't know where you're going from here. Thank you very much for squeezing that time out. But how do you do it?
Okay, so that's part of the job. And that is what the president has mandated. You have to ensure that you link everybody to these women. The thing is, the government is doing so much, but it's not maybe properly felt at the grassroots level because of sometimes those who need it are not the ones getting it. Sometimes what they're getting is not what they need, and that is why we're here. So it's our job to run around 20 agencies or ministries if need be to ensure that we achieve Mr. President's mandate.
No, it's very consoling to know you're there, and then different people for different regions, because we've seen cases. I mean, every Nigerian knows we now have suitcase, or what we call them, armchair farmers and suitcase farmers. So they just pick up all the all these things that you're mentioning, the inputs and everything from the government, the end users left blank. So they continue toiling, waiting for the harvest season, rainy season, planting with, their hoes and cutlasses. So this is really, really a good initiative. And what you've said, it's not just about the initiative. What you've said shows that the steps being taken are going to make sure that they're not only implemented, but we're going to record success. So I think I will join my voice in adding kudos to President Bola Tinubu for this. And I'm hoping that you're going to extend it from agriculture even to like broadcasting, so you can empower women like me.
Yes, of course. We'll ensure that we touch as much sectors as we can.
Okay, but
let's just solve our tummy issues first.
Yes, it's true. Food, stomach care first, because I mean, what's a nation without food security? To be quite honest, because to keep importing food is not the way to go. It should be a short-term measure, but Nigeria has done it for way too long.
Yeah, and food security, like I always say, is the backbone of every nation, and that is what the president has been talking about. I remember during his campaign, he was saying things like agbado, ewa, cassava. Right. He was intentional. He deliberately mentioned locally grown food.
Right.
Because he believes that we should eat what we grow and we should grow what we eat.
Absolutely.
Because when we have enough, and that is when we can now start talking about increasing our efforts by exporting.
True.
So what can we talk about exports when we're still
importing
what we eat? And the beautiful thing is the agricultural sector is really rich. We've seen countries like the Netherlands make tremendous results from the food industry. They're not bigger than Bielsa and maybe just a small portion, and then they're literally feeding the world. If you go to any supermarket, I bet you will see something from the Dutch.
Right.
You'll see something produced by the Dutch, and we can do that. We have the land, we have the people, and we have the weather. We have a beautiful weather, we have beautiful climates, and then we can marry all these factors together and ensure that we actually feed the world. So Project M from the Soil, the goal is to feed the region, feed the country, and feed the whole of West Africa. And it's possible.
Yes, it is possible.
It's very, very possible.
Indeed. Okay, we'll just go on a very short break now to take a little breather. When we come back, we're still going to be engaging Honorable Johnbull because she has lots to tell us. Please stay with us. You're welcome back. It's still the conversations on Kaftan Television today, and I'm Mikki Attah, seated in the studio with Honorable Gift Johnbull. Okay, she has told us a whole lot about Project Earn from the Soil, but there's still another project or an event which she's going to tell us about, and that is called Road to South-South, the National Convergence for the Renewed Hope Agenda. Honorable Gift, put us through.
Okay, so I once heard a wise man say that people will only do business with who they trust, and they will only trust who they know. So this is the South-South announcing itself, or herself rather, to the world of international development partners, to the world of investors, to the world of other stakeholders involved, So we want the world to know us, to see us as a region beyond oil and gas, that we have other industries that they can actually invest in. Agriculture, for a start, in textile industry, so many other industries that they can actually see the South-South for. And we wanted to share our rich cultural heritage with the world. So it was literally the South-South hosting the nation at the State House Banquet Hall. And it was beautiful. We had traditional rulers from different states in the South-South region that graced the occasion, ministers and senators, and chiefs, the women farmers we've engaged in the previous months, youth leaders of communities, and it was a beautiful one. And that also showed that the president is solidly with the South-South region, right? And then we also have development partners, international development partners also that graced the occasion. UN Women, Chestrad Global, Albright Stonebridge, I think a rep from World Bank. It's a way to show that the South-South region is open for other forms of development. We're literally saying the South-South region of Nigeria, its economy can be diversified beyond oil and gas. And hosting the region is to say that we stand for unity, we stand for peace, and we stand for collaboration. So it's a whole lot of good stories for the one, that event, Road to South-South.
Wow. I almost feel like jumping on the road and arriving there to see the new developments there. But what do you think will be, apart from food security, are there other outcomes and outfalls that we're expecting from this? For instance, like, can the community leader there aspire for a political office and run from there? Because the women's voices aren't really right there where, decision making is being made. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I was surprised you're a woman. I thought all of them were going to be men.
Oh, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR is actually very inclusive in his governance. I mean, out of the 6 SSAPs on community engagement, we have 4 women and 2 men.
Beautiful.
So yes.
We should have all 6 women. You're dealing with women.
Okay, so we're not SSAP Women Affairs. We're SSAP Community Engagement, right? So they're different demographic of people.
Right.
The women just happen to be one of them, and that's where we started our engagement from. But that is not the only demographic of people that we are actually attending to. Not just women.
Oh, really?
We have youth. We also have other projects on the pipeline that will be dealing with children from 0 to 2 years old on their nutrition. That's Project My Pikin. We also have the Way Initiative. That's the Women and Youth Initiative that will also look at the textile industries and all that. So it's not just about women. We are amazing. We are wonderful, but we are one demographic of the population. So there are other demographics. So the other community or demographic of people that wants to aspire for political offices. So we can just group them as young politicians, also or women politicians or male politicians, right? So whatever demographic of people is where the president has sent us to, any community. So sometimes we can be dealing with the artisans, that are into organizing, welding, carpentry. The president has sent us to everybody. So in the South region, we just started with women. We have other projects that we've done.
That's so interesting. And then there's something you touched on that really struck me, and that was about nutrition. Because I was just saying, have you noticed? Because people just, like, if I'm into this, I'm going to farm that and then end up consuming it without really looking at the value of a balanced diet. So I think, like you said, capturing making them focus on the children as well. How are you really going to implement it? Are you going to be doing like community sensitization? Don't forget, we the media, we're here for you.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very comforting to know. Yes. So we are going to work with other development partners. Like I earlier mentioned, we strongly believe there's a collective effort, right? So we're going to partner with WHO, UNICEF. We're going to partner with other community-based organizations. We're going to partner with even the popular brands, Unilever and all, right? But what Project My Pikin is going to focus on is to educate the families in the grassroots region on proper nutrition.
Right.
For instance, during our first tour, our first listening tour that we had earlier this year, we go to some villages, and what the children are taking is custard. No offense to custard, but I mean, I know that you can actually do puree from granules, from bananas, from maybe rice, and you can feed your kids crayfish. You can mix it with your akamu. So let's not all go tech and modern and forget what nutrition is about. So it's not about food packaging now. It's about nutrition for the children. So we have to sensitize them and also even do distribution, even show them how to make it. If you cannot afford the store-bought children food, you can make them from home. I mean, growing up, we see akamu, you see all manner of ugi, the one with millet, the one with this, the one with that, mixed with crayfish, mixed with soya bean, mixed with vegetable, the juice, that kind of stuff that they do from ugu, the popular ugu one. You squeeze it and then you give your kids as they grow, maybe from 1 or so. But let's say 0 to maybe 6 months, you can introduce puree. We go to the markets, to the supermarkets, and we buy puree and we give to our kids. Let's show the women they can do puree from bananas. They can do puree from granules. The popular Tom Brown also is a thing, so it's different community based on what they have. Because if we teach them about their seasonal fruits and what they already have, it's easier for them to survive on that. So we'll be doing that sometime next year.
Please. We're here for you. And I wanted to ask, so far you've been going, what has the response been like? Did you find any resistance? Because I've had on occasion to interview people who are involved in health, and they say sometimes, like, if they're going for inoculation, announcements will be made and everything. And when you come over to the communities, you meet locked doors. You lock the children, hide them in the rooms, and pretend as if nobody is in that house. Resisting getting their young children inoculated.
Yes.
So it becomes a very big challenge. Do you find challenges of resistance like that, especially among, not well-educated people?
So I'm actually in the studio and I'm going to be speaking this English with you. Yes, but when I'm there, I don't speak this English. So the thing is, people can relate with culture,
right,
language,
right,
food,
right,
and dressing. When they see that you are part of them, they listen.
Okay.
And when you give them the information like you are one of them, they listen. So I think in time past, what the problem has been is communication. There's been a very huge gap in communication. So you can get someone that does not even understand how the streets and what the way of life of those people are, and they'll see you're coming to give them poison. Yes, I mean, we've had stories like that, right? But if we use the community engagement approach,
right,
that is a solution. Community engagement approach.
Right.
So someone from there can talk to them, get one educated, and then you can talk to them.
Right.
Or I'm not a health expert,
right,
so I wouldn't talk much about inoculation and the challenges that they go through.
Right.
But the approach we're using for Project My PK when we finally launch is a community engagement approach.
Beautiful.
So when you're speaking to them, let's say we are in Ebo in Ogoja, Cross River State.
Okay.
I won't be talking to them about bananas. I won't be talking to them about eggplants. I'll be talking to them maybe about rice, about cassava, about veggies, about oil palm that they have.
Right.
So you have to speak their language.
Right.
Yeah, mostly speak their language. So
Okay.
that's the approach we're using, community-based approach.
Beautiful. So that means you're going to go back to your biology books and your geography books and do a whole lot of research.
Yeah.
But that's a beautiful part of it. You learn as you're going along.
Actually.
So I've learned a lot from you, right? Even today. That's beautiful. Okay. What else? What else are the challenges you face, so that maybe somebody who's aspiring to be like you will do these and these and these are what she faced to create that space. What other challenges do you face in the course of this engagement?
I think I would shy away from talking about the challenges.
Why
but let's talk about what's possible.
Okay.
Because the interesting thing is there are always going to be challenges.
Yes,
but do we want
true.
the result? Yes. Let's focus on how we can get the result and expand the result.
Yeah, but you overcome the challenges to get the result.
Yeah,
so
but the challenges are actually very, it's not constant. Like, it's not the same, right? The challenges I face can be different from the challenges you face.
Right.
And most times the challenges that you face can be overcome by personal relationship or personal skills that you have,
Right.
soft skills, relationship skills, and that kind of stuff. So it's actually different for everyone. That's why I rather focus on talking about what's possible.
Okay.
And what's possible is that we can, for the South, what's possible is that we can actually tour the 123 local government across the 6 states, and it's possible. 1, 2, 3. Yes, 123. Yeah, and it's possible when we do it collectively as a people. Yes.
Okay. Do you find resistance from their families? Do they ever complain that our husbands or our family members are not welcoming of the idea, or are they very free to engage and participate?
Yes, everyone has been very welcoming, and it shows that the people are actually yearning for productivity.
Right.
They're yearning for success. They want to be better.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a testament I can actually take from all those engagements. They're willing, they're ready. Like, you have to see the turnouts in Calabar. We had over 4,000, and they came from across the local government. In Delta, over 4,000. Wow. In Bayelsa, over 3,000. Wow. In Edo State, because we did it in Akoko Edo, not in Benin City, it was towards the election. We had like 1,005. Right?
That's impressive for a local government, very interior local government.
Yes, and that's to tell you how ready these women are. You see some of them coming dressed up, some of them coming from the farm, maybe from their shops. Yes. Yeah, so they're willing. Their reception has been amazing.
Oh, that's really great. Yes. Okay. So what do you have an idea of a time frame for next year? Or you just keep us posted anyway for when you want to roll out the next project?
Oh, yes, I'll
But
keep
are
you
they going
posted.
to run concurrently?
Oh, yes, all projects are going to run concurrently.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
we're not shelving any. We're
Oh,
just going to
beautiful.
keep launching them
Launching it.
because
Okay.
so we don't keep any demographic of people waiting.
Right. Okay. So can you give us a little expo on what others you have in the pipeline for
Okay,
now?
so we've talked about Project My Peking.
Yes.
There's another one we started this year too. Before Project M from the Soil, that's called Now My Area, Now My Country.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So Now My Area, Now My Country, it's about the oil spillage issues we've had in the South,
Okay.
and vandalization. We're trying to address vandalization, infrastructural destruction in the oil sector and all. So agitation was a way of getting the attention of the stakeholders in time past when there were spillages affecting farmlands and killing the fishes, right? But we all agree in the South now that it's no longer yielding the necessary result because it came at a price, right? So we are peaceful people,
right,
and we are welcoming of development.
right.
So Now My Area, Now My Country is a way that we have agreed to say that as much as this is my area, Nigeria is also my country. So we deal with those challenges that we've always had as a people and as a country, not in isolation anymore, not like, oh, Nigeria is here and we are here. No. As a people. So we visited Ogoni, where we had a roundtable stakeholders engagement that talked about the popular Ogoni cleanup.
Right.
Yes, we also were in Bielsa, where we had the Niger Delta youths, over 4,000 of them, ex-agitators. I think they were captured in the third phase of the amnesty program or something like that. Yeah, and it was amazing. So nobody is actually talking about agitation anymore. The conflict entrepreneurs are no longer going to survive and thrive in the region.
Entrepreneurs.
Yes.
I've never heard that expression before.
Oh, trust me, that's a thing. It's an industry that is suffocated now. They will not survive anymore.
Yeah, that's great for the country.
Yes,
nice.
It is.
Okay, can you tell us, I'm really curious about the Ogoni engagement. They've always been in the news and we've never heard anything, as a finality to it. So what was your engagement with the Ogoni people like?
Yeah, it was a beautiful one. Everybody spoke what was important to them, what the challenges were of the process, and where they are right now in their result assessments. And we also engaged with High Prep. That was one of the stakeholders in that meeting. High Prep, that's the hydrocarbon pollution remediation. I'm just hope I'm getting it right. Yes, High Prep, but that's the organization, parastatals in charge of that Ogoni cleanup under the Ministry of Environment. So they were a part of that meeting, and the chiefs, and so we literally assessed where it all began, where we are now, where we are headed. And I must say that it's a journey. Yeah. And it's a progress. We're making progress.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, as regarding the Ogoni cleanup. And the remediation process is ongoing. Some of the farmlands are restored.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes. And then some community-based project like drinking water, but of course there's always room for more. The people want more. Right. And then I believe the stakeholders involved now after that particular engagement have really doubled up on their effort.
Oh, that's beautiful. Do some of them have to come over to Abuja periodically, or is it always Abuja to the regions?
Yeah, it has to be Abuja to the regions now, because it has to be a top-bottom approach and not the usual a bottom-top approach, rather, not the usual top-to-bottom approach. Because if you're waiting for it to trickle down, it will take almost forever sometimes. But let's start dealing with it from here. You don't have to come. Let the government come to you. The president is coming to you. Beautiful. And that's why we are the president's outstretched arm in these localities. Right? So the president has sent us to you. Right. So the process is shortened, is faster. Right. Yeah. Bottom-top approach.
Yeah. So what do you do? On your way back, you now get all the data of all these communities, and then you're available to them 24/7. Then they just reach out to you if there are challenges. What are some of, you said not to talk of challenges. I'm just curious, just to do troubleshooting a bit. So what are some of the challenges that are feedbacks that they get back to you after you might have, left a particular place? Expecting that things will be up and running, because this is life, sometimes it won't go exactly.
So the thing is, there are challenges in like every community. Right. And they are different. Right. So sometimes we'll be like, oh, this community does not have water. and then we're like, oh, let's see the Ministry of Water Resources and have this conversation. Okay, so which organization wants to do CSRO? We can actually let you know that this is present in this community, right? And another very important thing we do is that we let them know what is already available and existing. Okay, that's another key one, because, for instance, we had an engagement and they were like, oh, my children wants to go to school, there's no money, we need scholarship. I'm like, scholarship is good, but not all of us are going to get Chevening scholarship. Not all of us are going to get Nestle funded scholarship. That's the truth, right? But there's NEL fund. You can go and apply and get the fund for your child to start school. Right. So you don't have to call uncle and call auntie. That is one thing that you have to know that this is already available for you. Right. And another thing, because in all our engagements, we had Nexim present, Nexim Bank, the Nigeria Export and Import Bank, present in all our engagement. And then, there are people like, oh, we want to export. And they're like, oh, your product is not maybe export ready. Right. So now they guide them. Right. So somebody in a fruit market in Delta State might not know how to get her product in London, in London's shelf, right? But we've been able to marry these people. So it's beautiful. About harnessing and creating bridges. Oh, beautiful. Because we've had cases like that too in Nigeria, where I think they exported, was it beans or something? And they had to be sent back because they were full of weevils. So something like that happened. That has actually happened. So like you said, being that bridge is actually what they need. So the beans will be there, but since you haven't brought it up to international standard, it's going to be rejected. Exactly. But now you have someone to guide you through in the person of Honorable Gift. And other stakeholders. You now know how to get it across, because there's nothing as nice like for people who live abroad to walk into the shops and pick up, something from Nigeria. It's authentic, and then go home and use it. And like you said, it will end up boosting our foreign exchange earning, even though, the first step, like you said, is our own food security. Once we achieve food security, then the next step, you said, is export to West Africa. So when are you going on tour of the West African countries to know what they would really like to have from Nigeria? Because, knowledge is power. Then you now come back and we'll let the public know. Okay, so I don't have to go on a tour. But of course, we have a very amazing team at the office that will ensure that we connect with these people. Okay. At the event Road to Salsa, we had people from Ghana attend, and Benin Republic. Oh my goodness. Yes, in attendance. Right. And then we also partner with different NGOs. Okay. I was going to ask you, apart from these, your international partners and all that, do you partner with, local NGOs? Oh, yes, that's the community-based organizations. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That reminds me, there's the few months ago, I think about 2 months ago, we were in China, where we went to a province called Fujian province in Fuzhou, and we met with the director of the International Economic Cooperation Center in China. And, we literally showed them all the opportunities that were present. And then what they would do is also marry us with the China investors and business partners that would like to come invest. So invest in machineries, invest in setting up mini factories, or invest in being off-takers. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that is that's so exciting. Yes, I'm seeing the future like really looking bright. If you continue the way you are doing right now, like you said, make us today, Abuja tomorrow, the next day. I mean, it sounds like a really fast pace on something that, like you said, is really, really doable. Okay. What are the other, you said there's this project from the soil. You told us about project My Pekin Road to South, My Pekin, my area, my country, my Nigeria, my country. Let's have just 2 more to whet our appetites. Okay, so we have time is fast running out. We have the Way initiative. That's the way. Okay, the women and youth. Yes, the women and youth. Yes, the women and youth initiative. So that's going to look into other viable sectors, industries, in fashion, at the artisans, that particular industry, carpentry, welding, other forms of what they call handwork. Yes, handwork. Okay. Yes, handwork. Okay. Yes, and I think that's one I can actually mention from the top of my head right now. Right. Okay. No, that's perfect, because like I said, we're really, really running out of time. So I'd like you, Honorable, to just give one, parting shot to somebody listening right now about what to expect, for this very achievable
plans that you have rolled out, just tell somebody out there what and what and what, and maybe how they can also key in and be partakers, especially people from the South,
Yes.
your region.
Thank you, Mikki. So, the president is here for you. The only reason he's occupying the office is for you, and he has come up with so many policies and plans. And all you have to do is to be aware of them and harness them properly. And for the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement for the South region, we believe that together as a region, we can hold each other's hands and ensure we develop the region and develop Nigeria at large. And remember, it's a collective effort. It's not a one-man's task. It's not the president's task alone. It's not the SSAP task alone. It's not the governor's task alone. It's each and every one of us contributing our quota to developing the region and developing the country. Just think of the one you can do and get in touch with the office.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Okay. It's just been a pleasure today speaking with Honorable Gift Johnbull, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement. And like she said, her focus now is to be driving community development and also ensuring economic empowerment. I think that's as much as we can take today because we've so run out of time. If not, we are pleasure to engage her. But like I promise you, when she's about to roll out the next program, I will, like she says, with her possibility mentality, I'll do everything to bring her back into the studios. On that note, though, I'll just say I'm Mikki Attah. It's been a pleasure today bringing you the conversations. It will be a pleasure again bringing you the next edition on Kaftan Television. For now, I just want to say God bless, stay well, as we say, and in view of the season, have a very Merry Christmas in advance. God bless.